In your preliminary review of this, what magnitude of private investment do you think that this might bring into the city, and would there be any public money required?
Well, first of all, no. To answer your last question first, if this community, first of all, if this community were to feel that it was in the best interest to go forward with a gaming license, all that does is let the legislature know that the city of Fort Wayne is open to it. There are other communities that have passed referendums as well. So we're only going to be one of a number ultimately that would be in a position to have gaming. The legislature then would decide, first of all, do they want to have another license? And if not, then communities would have to wait for a license to become available through a transfer. It may or may not be Fort Wayne. Obviously, if we said no in a referendum, then we wouldn't be considered at all. If we said yes, we would be among one of a number that the state legislature could consider as a possible community. But I would anticipate and I would encourage that no public money be involved in the structure itself or any type of activity.
If the referendum was held this year, there would obviously be an additional cost. Who do you think should be responsible for paying
I haven't got there yet, Ben.
And do you think, I know you aren't ready to make a decision now, but do you think you would be, if a referendum was approved to have one this fall, you would be coming out for or against before the vote was held?
Again, that's one of the reasons I want to have a series of community forums to find out where our community stands.
But what you're saying is that you very well could take a position before a referendum after the community forums?
I think it's a little premature at this point. I really don't, I don't have the answer to that. I really don't know. And that's one of the reasons. I've heard from both sides. We've received a significant amount of feedback already from the community through emails, through regular mail, through telephone calls, and the like. It is definitely a subject of conversation in our community, and I've heard from both sides, and both sides have some very strong points. What I'm trying to do now is to say, and as I said in my remarks, because of all of that, I'm not sure that I feel comfortable making that decision myself to move forward. I would rather have our community speak. We have a city of 250,000 people, and I think they certainly have the ability to decide ultimately what's best for our community.
What role would the city have if you had a positive vote on a referendum? Would the city take an active role in steering the location of that of a facility if in fact a license does become?
Well, I'm sure that the administration would be very involved in where an operation of that type would best benefit the city. There's no question about that. We'd have to make sure that not only the citizens, our legislative body, the city council, the county council, the county commissioners, and all of us are on the same page as far as the proper location.
You said both sides have really good strong points on both sides of the issue. Could you maybe just state what some of the feedback you're hearing on both sides are right now?
Well, there's certainly a financial impact for communities that is very attractive to, or has been very attractive to some cities. Job creation, that type of thing. From a social perspective, many communities have become points of destination. On the other side, there's also been some increase in social concerns and social problems as a result of gaming. Unfortunately, there are those who struggle with the self-discipline necessary to use it as a comfortable form of entertainment. And it also can contribute to other social problems as well. So there's an upside and a downside, and I think again it merits a full, objective look at the entire subject matter.
And once you get feedback from the community forums, it sounds like you might be safe to go with whichever way the community's leaning?
Well, we're going to be, all that does is help us prepare for the referendum, which will ultimately come if the state legislature allows it. And then we'll determine when that referendum should be held, and then we'll go from there.
State Senator Long has indicated that I think he would support a referendum if it's paid for by some private group. Do you believe that now, having said that you are going to approach the legislature?
I'll need to contact Senator Long and find out a little more about maybe he's talked to someone.
So you're pretty sure that the legislature will respond to your request?
Well, you know, that's very encouraging to hear that. Certainly being the Senator Pro Tem, he has a considerable amount of clout downstate, so that would help us out immensely, have him champion that for us. I'm going to allow those behind me to answer the questions as well. Thanks a lot. But I do want to thank Marty. Thank you. Awesome. Tim. Thank you. Colin, thank you for stepping up.
Mayor, as you journey around the area, talking to the different groups, are you going to be joined by this very distinguished band of...
Distinguished band.
A band?
What instrument?
I would certainly hope that those who feel it necessary to participate in the community forums, the elected officials, that they can make themselves available, certainly. It would not be mandated, but certainly to the extent that they feel comfortable, they would be more than welcome to attend.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say I support the mayor making two really good choices, and that is first to have the community forums and then to seek a referendum. I think that's what people want, regardless of where you're at on the issue, and I know the passions are pretty divided, but this will give everybody a chance to speak out and be heard. I mean, this is the kind of thing people wish they'd had in the past for other major community choices, and I think this is going in the right direction. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I think the piece that is missing from the conversation, right now is we've been talking for 8 years, 10 years maybe consecutively about downtown Fort Wayne. And all the polls, no matter where they stood on Harrison Square project, were 75, 85% want a better downtown. And you're talking about the potential of bringing additional hundreds of thousands of people into your downtown and perhaps a $100 million private investment, part of the strategy we have for the community. And of course, it's vital to compete in today's world. It's vital to have a vital downtown. So I think that's part of the conversation that I'm interested in hearing the community have addressed with them and understand. To have that type of investment, that type of key piece, the next piece of the puzzle maybe for downtown. It seems to me that we would say absolutely yes if it weren't for the fact that it involves gaming to that type of investment. And so I think that that's the issue, that's the core issue of the dispute here. And I'm glad the mayor has put it out to the community to have a real full community conversation, not an interest group conversation for those automatically opposed or those automatically for it, but for those who are thinking about the future of the community, for those who want to have a chance to have a city that can attract talented workers back to the city like Grant Crawford over here. Thank you.
Well, quick comment. The only comment I would make, the question was asked about the referendum and whether the mayor would be in support or against that. I want to say I support the referendum, but I also support this type of investment. So I'm here for two reasons. I support what the mayor is doing in terms of having a referendum. I think that's an appropriate approach to take. But I also am hopeful that the community will state with a fairly loud and clear voice that they want to see this type of investment in Fort Wayne.
Again, I want to thank you all very much for giving us a few moments of time today, and I'm sure gentlemen behind me will be available for individual interviews. Thank you.
Good to see you.